Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. I always appreciate your presence. Today I have several news updates to share with you. Some in reading, some I selected from different media for today's update. So the tension in Orthodox Ethiopian Orthodox Church continues. The prayer, uh, the announced prayer, the fasting, and the black dress still going on. Actually, will continue until Wednesday, uh, and the campaign of the status quo: one church, one Orthodox, one patriarch, and one synod widely advertised in different social medias. The black dress, especially the black dress, is circulating on different social media, supporting the status quo. No change is allowed. But the new synod, the new bishops are also welcomed. They are welcomed by the Orthodox believers, especially in Oromia. So there is no point of return. No way. They are going and receiving tremendous support from Orthodox followers, and even taking over some churches, especially the Shashamane West RC zone. Life is also lost in the process. There is no exact number of casualties, but days is reported. Some media reported 37 believers killed in this chaos in Shashamane. Some are reporting less, but now at least the new synod took over the Shashamane church, and they are well received, welcomed by Oromo senior cultural leaders, Bagadas and Sinkes, and Oromo youth, even by non-Orthodox. So the tension continues. The new synod is establishing its roots. The status quo is fighting back, fasting, dressing black, campaigning on social media, accusing the new synod as illegal. So many activities. So the chaos continue. And I will start with a well reception of this new synod in Shashamane. Then we'll continue with another video, the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's visit to Italy, plus some other news I got from Addis Standard, Musharraf, former Pakistani President, passing, plus the tragedy which took several thousand people's life in Turkey. I don't know when it became Turkey, but Turkey and Syria. So plus other news. Thank you for joining me. Let's start with the welcoming ceremony for the new bishop in Shashamane, and we'll continue with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed delegation visit in Italy. There we go.
Saniif aduun isin na'ee makaraa meeqaa keessa dabartanii nu eeggatii ooltanii kaleessas har'as osoo abdiin hin kutatin nu eegaa turtanii baay'ee isin galateeffannaa Waaqayyoon fayyaa isiniif haa kennu. Ilmaan Oromoo, ilmaan sabaaf sablammii hundi keessan wanti nu baruu barbaannu nu baruuf nu beekuuf kan barbaannu isiniif jecha abaarsi meeqa nurra ga'e dachee irratti dhalanne irratti hin awwaaltan awwaalamuu hin qabdan jedhanii abdii akka kutannu biyyiin kun biyya keessanii miti nun jedhanii waa'ee biraa keessa garuu hin barbaadu kan labsinu nagaadhaa kan qabannee deemnu immoo fannoodha. Uummanni Itoophiyaa kana nu beekuu qaba. Jaalala labsinaa, walqixxummaa labsinaa. Afaan abaaramaan hin jiru, afaan eebbifamaanis hin jiru. Afaan hundoo nama fayyadu malee afaan samirraa dhufee hin jiru. Afaan kan lafarraa irratti mo'an uumame hin jiru. Afaan hunda tokko malee. Biyya walitti qabna, walitti kun qabna. Waliin jiraachuudhaaf wal kabajuu qabna. Amantaan kamiyyuu kan labsu nagaadha. Amantaan kamiyyuu kan barsiisu addunyaa Waaqayyooti. Walaa jaalannu tokko haa taanu biyya kan guddatu akka yoo ta'e qofa.
Okay, so there is a video quality issue, but if you want to continue watching this, you can get it from Oromia Media Network. So.
Meet the new Google Pixel 7 Pro. Trade in your old phone and save. Pay over time with Google.
Okay, I will come back to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia and his delegation visit to Italy. So that's Abuna Paulos, the new bishop, welcomed in Shashamane by Abagadas, Sinkes, those well-respected Oromo traditional leaders and by followers of Orthodox and non-believers. And he was saying he and his team suffered a lot and cursed by establishment, denied even burial ground, and trashed like illegal group. So they are fighting for Oromos and for nation and the nationalities, for equality and love, to practice the religion faithfully and without discrimination, with love, with equality. He's also saying there is no language inequality. Language is common for communication, and there is no inferior or superior language. All languages are equal. And so he's the main thing is also appreciating, thanking the Shashamane people and those who are attending the welcoming ceremony, and appreciating their effort, appreciating the welcoming ceremony. That's the he is saying also is they will not go back to the status quo. They will continue preaching love, preaching equality, and standing for a nation and all nationalities in Ethiopia. So there is no a point of return. They determined to continue uh, preaching the beliefs of Orthodox and reaching out to all Ethiopians. That's the message we see. So no matter what the status quo is doing, uh, fighting on the social media and global uh, demonstration against this group, this new synod is determined to deepen its roots in Oromia especially. And according to the information I received, uh, there is a huge demonstration uh, in the planning to welcome, to support the new synod in Finfinne or Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, and in many other cities in Oromia especially. So this is in the planning to welcome them, to support them openly in public demonstration in coming days. Let's continue with the Prime Minister visit video, and I will read other materials. Thank you again.
ግንኙነት ለብዙ ዘመናት የቆየና ፍሬያማ የሆነ አጋርነት መሆኑን ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር ዶክተር አብይ አህመድ ገልጸዋል። ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር ዶክተር አብይ አህመድ ለይፋዊ የስራ ጉብኝት ጣሊያን ሮም መግባታቸውን ይታወሳል።
ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ በማህበራዊ ትስስር ገጻቸው ባሰፈሩ ጽሁፍ ዛሬ ጠዋት በፕሬዚዳንት ሰርጂዮ ማታሬላ ለተደረገልን አቀባበል ከፍ ያለ ምስጋና አቀርባለሁ ብለዋል። የኢትዮጵያንና የጣሊያንን ግንኙነት አጠናክረን እንቀጥላለን ሲሉም ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ ገልጸዋል።
ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር አብይ አህመድና የሚኒስትሮች ልዑክ ቡድን በሮም ጣሊያን የስራ ጉብኝት እያደረገ ነው። ከጉብኝቱ ጎን ለጎን ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር ዶክተር አብይ ከፕሬዚዳንት ሰርጂዮ ማታሬላ ጋር ባደረጉት የሁለትዮሽ ውይይት በኢትዮጵያና ጣሊያን መካከል ስላለው ግንኙነት መክረዋል።
በተጨማሪም ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትሩ በጣሊያን ሮም በሌሎች ወቅታዊ ዓለም አቀፋዊና ቀጠናዊ ጉዳዮች ላይ መምከራቸውን የጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር ጽሕፈት ቤት መረጃ ያመለክታል።
The earthquake that shook Turkey and Syria in the early hours of Monday.
Okay, I'll come back to this devastating tragedy happened in Turkey and Syria, the earthquake, 7.8 magnitude. So that's the video I show you is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his delegation visiting or having a work visit in Italy, and appreciative of the long-standing relationship between Ethiopia and Italy. So he met the president and the prime minister of Italy. So also in discussion with other dignitaries in Italy. So the peace deal gave the prime minister and his delegation an opportunity to come out from the curtain, from those doomed days. Now they are showing up in the global stage. Last time in the United States, now in Italy. Who knows next? So they are showing up. The diplomatic door is open. Also some financial flow from World Bank and from United Kingdom. So it is opening up. So signing the peace deal is good, but there is a major war going on in Oromia that must stop too. So if that doesn't stop, there is no sense for the prime minister to go around and have relation, because this is a major problem that can change the structure of Ethiopia. OLA is not too far from Addis Ababa. They are fighting. And heavy military operation is ongoing as we speak now. And they are confiscating heavy weapons from the government forces and government militia, government defense force personnel. Oromia special forces are, surrendering to OLA. So it's a very tough military operation. It's ongoing. If the prime minister is smart, that is the first priority for him to settle. Is already putting the country in chaos. The Orthodox church crisis, the ongoing war in Oromia, the inflation, and the many challenges Ethiopians are facing. So he must settle. His team must settle the ongoing war in Oromia, plus the Orthodox crisis. So thank you again. Let's continue reading with some items I got from Addis Standard plus other news. Here we go. This is updates on the church. Clash between Orthodox faithful, local police claim lives of many in Shashamane. Holy Synod government in war of words as both stick to their position over church sexism. Clashes lash between followers of Orthodox Christianity and the local police in West RC Zone, Shashamane, city of the Oromia region on Saturday, February 4, claimed the lives of many people. An eyewitness told Addis Standard. The clashes erupted at St. Michael Church during a reception ceremony for members clergy appointed by the new Holy Synod of Oromia and nations and nationalities. According to the eyewitnesses, the clash happened when Abuna Paulos, who is appointed by the Holy Synod of Oromia and the nations and the nationalities to serve the West RC Diocese, traveled to Shashamane city, and a group of the church's followers started to protest that the bishop and his team would not be welcomed. That is from Status Quo. Earlier, some of the churches in the city rang the church bells to call out followers of the church, the eyewitness said, adding that in a clash between the protesters and the regional special police, 2 people shot killed immediately. Both were shot dead by the police. Hearing the calls, followers of the church started going to St. Michael Church and closed the door of the church. The city police opened fire to disperse the crowd. That was when the 2 young men were killed. 4 others were injured, he explained. But it is difficult to know the exact number of casualties. Reports by church-affiliated media published on Sunday and after claim the number of casualties to be as high as 35. While Addis Standard couldn't independently verify the number of victims, His Holiness Abuna Petros, Chief Secretary of the Holy Synod, claimed in an interview with YouTube-based Anchor Media that the number has reached up to 30. A relative calm has returned to the city after Saturday's tense standoff. In a statement issued following this incident, the Holy Synod strongly condemned the illegal arrests and harassment of its beatitude archbishops and diocese managers, department heads, priests, and faithfuls. The Holy Synod said that the faithful who came out to protest St. Michael's Church in the city of Shashamane in West RC Diocese was brutally attacked, condemning the violation of human rights and the horrible act of death against its followers. And the Synod has also announced plans to stage nationwide protest rallies to be led by its Patriarch Abuna Matthias beginning from 12 February. In a statement on 5 February, the federal government urged an amicable solution for the dispute between the leadership of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church through internal channels. It also warned that law enforcement measures would be taken against those using the situation to incite civil unrest. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has announced that it will not accept the statement issued by the government communication service yesterday. According to the latest statement by the church, the points made by the statement issued by the government under the title Statement Issued by the Government Communication Service on Current Affairs ignored the dignity and the history of the church. The church has informed that it does not accept the statement as it ignores the facts and allows people who do not have complete information on the matter to have a wrong understanding, as the statement by the federal government mentioned both entities, the Holy Synod and the breakaway archbishops, as parallel. The fact that the statement issued by the government does not condemn the killings in Shashamane and does not express its condolences shows the government's stance, the church said, calling on the government to refrain from supporting those identified as illegal and to apologize for its support so far. The Holy Synod of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has declared the faithful to observe the upcoming 3 days of fast of Nineveh, which will be observed from Monday, February 6 to Wednesday, February 8, by wearing black to protest against what it said is a government-supported group coup attempt to overthrow the Holy Synod by the illegal group. On the occasion of the fast of Nineveh, Christians all over the world wear only black clothes, take vows in fasting and prayer by being present in the premises of the church. We wear black clothes to express perseverance in suffering, the statement said. The Synod also accused the government that instead of enforcing the law, the government failed to uphold the law and rights of the church by giving support to illegal groups. So the Holy Synod understood that it is important to pray and make vows to our all-powerful God. So that is the claim of the status quo, and they are determined in their accusation of the government supporting this illegal group and calling on the followers to pray, to fast, and to dress black for the next 3 days. Okay, this again from Addis Standard. This one is ONLF condemns unacceptable violation of press freedom after a recent media ban in Somali region. Ogaden National Liberation Front, ONLF, has condemned what it described as escalated suppression of media freedom in the Somali region, which, according to the party, has devastating impact on journalism and the right to information. Ogaden National Liberation Front said in a press release on Saturday that despite the services they have been providing to the state and to the people, the regional government has banned 13 major news outlets using the Federal Media Authority as a pretext. According to the statement, the government's crackdown on media freedom started 2 years ago when it closed the only independent TV which was trying to report truthfully. The recent ban on foreign media outlets, according to ONLF, was prompted by the media's coverage of the government's neglect of the ongoing drought situation and the increased corruption scandals, the press release stated. ONLF also criticized the government for withdrawing the certification of the Journalists Association, which was registered and operating legally, saying that it clearly indicates the attack on press freedom and the right to express dissent. We stand in solidarity with them and call on the world to speak out against these oppressive actions, it stated. The freedom of the press is a fundamental human right, and it is alarming that the government in the Somali state seems to have no regard for it, it stated, adding that journalists in the Somali regional state is in desperate need of support as they fight for the right to report the truth. On February 1st, the Somali Regional Police arrested journalist Muhaddin Muhammad Ali, who works for the Khalsan TV, a day after a decision by the Region Communication Bureau to take 15 foreign media outlets broadcasting in the region off air, accusing reporters of the outlet based in the region of working without licenses. So this is the excuse the regional government and the federal government of Ethiopia uses: licenses or spreading false rumors, false or fake news. So we appreciate, concerned citizen media appreciate Ogaden National Liberation Front for expressing its support for freedom of expression and supporting journalists. So the international community also should pay attention. Prosperity Party just want to keep only government-operated media and those friendly medias to operate. So they are silencing freedom of expression. This is about central government of Ethiopia sending money for Tigray region. Central bank sends cash to banks in Tigray as liquidity crisis cripple recent service resumptions. The National Bank of Ethiopia, NBE, has begun distributing 5 billion birr, $90 million, to banks in the Tigray region to enable them resume their much-needed services amidst growing complaint from residents who, despite reopening of banks in the region, were unable to get services due to shortage of cash. Redwan Hussein, national advisor to the Prime Minister, tweeted on Saturday saying that as per the decision passed by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, NBE has begun sending 5 billion birr to Mekelle to be dispersed starting Monday. The decision was made following engagement of the peace negotiating team of the federal government and the Tigray region, who have met on Friday in the presence of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for the first time and discussed the progress of the implementation of the peace agreement signed between the two in November last year. In his remark in the aftermath of the meeting, the leading peace negotiator of Tigray region, Getachew Reda, underscored that banks have opened in Tigray, but due to a serious shortage of cash, they have not been giving services, adding that in Tigray, people who have money became dependent on aid only because they cannot access their saving. So that's a good news uh, for the Tigray people who suffered more than enough for the last year. So this opening up banks and providing money, this 90 million, if it's not just for propaganda purpose, it's very good news, encouraging news to help, the start of life again in that region. They have suffered more than enough. So, so many announcements made since the sign of the peace deal, but still reports of shortcoming, whether in medicine and other humanitarian aid, basic service, telephone, light, so many shortcomings. So some are just announced for media consumption, for propaganda. So this announcement, I hope it is true. This is about Meta, or Facebook, loses bid to block Kenya court case. This is reported by BBC, Emmanuel Igunaza and Rhea Sipi. Social media giant Meta, which owns Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, has failed to stop a Kenyan court from hearing a case that alleges poor working conditions at the company. Meta wanted the case dismissed, saying that Kenyan courts have no jurisdiction because Meta is not domiciled in, or nor does it trade from Kenya, but a judge rejected the argument. Former content moderator Daniel Motungu, who worked for local outsourcing company Sama, said he was paid about $2.20 per hour to review posts including beheadings and child abuses. The toll of the work left Mr. Mutunga with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. He alleged he was fired after pushing to form a union to advocate for better working conditions. We are extremely delighted by the ruling. It is not just historic, but globally significant. Arungu Horton, the head of Amnesty International Kenya, told BBC Focus on Africa. This could be the first time that Meta has been brought under a court of law in the global south. He said it will also open the door for content moderators to be protected in a court of law in the countries in which they live. Meta faces a separate case in Kenya that alleges Facebook's algorithm helped to fuel the vital spread of hate and violence during Ethiopia's civil war. Abraham Merek, the son of an Ethiopian academic, shot dead after being attacked in a Facebook post, is among those bringing the case against Meta. They want $2 billion fund for victims of hate on Facebook and the changes to the platform's algorithm. Meta said it invested heavily in moderation and tech to remove hate. So that is Meta, which owns WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, getting challenged in wherever it's giving services. This is from State Department on tragedy in Turkey. I don't know when this name is changed, but Turkey and Syria. So the United States released this statement. Let me read what it says. The United States expresses our deep sadness at the tragic loss of life and the destruction across Turkey and Syria from today's earthquakes. We extend our condolences to the families of those affected and are assessing our comprehensive response options. I have directed my team to remain in close contact with our Turkish allies and our humanitarian partners in the coming days to determine what the region needs. Our initial assistance response to Turkey is already underway, and the US-supported humanitarian organizations in Syria are responding to the earthquake's effects across the country. We are determined to do all that we can to help those affected by these earthquakes in the days, weeks, and months ahead. So that is on the tragic situation in Turkey and Syria. This is a very devastating earthquake. It's killed almost more than 3,600. It's a very tough one and very tough to watch it. Very tough to watch. Just, you know, those sky-rising buildings just collapsed. It's a very tough to watch. I have also a video on that one after the match. This is again from Anthony J. Blinken, Secretary of State, press release. This one is about observance of the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, which is common in Ethiopia and other parts of the globe. Common in Ethiopia, especially mutilation of girls. The United States stands with more than 200 million survivors of female genital mutilation and cutting, FGM/C, around the world in a posture of zero tolerance for the practice. We stand resolutely against the practice of FGM/C as a form of gender-based violence and a human rights abuse that threaten the lives and the future of girls and young men in nearly 30 countries around the world, including the United States. Okay, I didn't know we have here. Women and girls in all their diversity deserves to live free from gender-based violence and to make their own choices about their bodies, lives, and future. Without significant and accelerated action, countries with persistently high level of FGMC will not reach the substantial development goal global target of elimination by 2030. The United States is proud to continue supporting global programs to end this abusive, including a $5 million annual contribution to the UNFPA UNICEF joint program on the elimination of female genital mutilation. In line with the 2022 update to the US strategy to prevent and respond to gender-based violence globally, we will continue to work towards eliminating FGM/C wherever it occurs, in partnership with survivors, locally led women's organizations, and youth-led groups and networks. So that's strong stand, US strong stand, and US support to end female genital mutilation. I think it's still practiced in more than 30 countries. That's all I have for reading. Let's watch a couple of videos I selected for today's update and end today's presentation. Thank you. Here we go.
Has left at least 3,500 people dead, and the toll could rise eightfold. Officials say a large number of victims and wounded are still trapped beneath the rubble. Here in war-torn Aleppo, Syria, scenes like these are too familiar. While local relief teams work day and night, countries and NGOs from all over the world have started to send aid. At the United Nations General Assembly in New York, a minute's silence was held for the victims.
The United Nations is mobilizing to support the emergency response, and so let's work together in solidarity to assist all those hit by this disaster, many of whom were already in dire need of humanitarian aid.
EU member states are coordinating its aid and rescue response, while the 27-nation bloc's Copernicus satellite system has been activated to provide emergency mapping services. US President Joe Biden has also pledged his support. Russia, too, has also offered help on the ground. Meanwhile, many survivors have little to no shelter, adding to the dangers amid icy conditions.
My name is Danny Davies. I am the president.
Pervez Musharraf, who ruled Pakistan for nearly a decade during the critical years of the American war against al-Qaeda and the Taliban, died in a hospital in Dubai on Sunday. Musharraf, a former general who seized power in a bloodless coup in 1999, appeared alongside American President George W. Bush less than a month after al-Qaeda terrorists used jetliners to attack New York City and Washington, and pledged himself as part of a coalition to defeat the militant Islamists and the Afghan Taliban sheltering them.
Let me right away say that Pakistan has taken a considered decision to be a part of the coalition, to be with the United States, to fight terrorism in all its forms, wherever it exists.
He was credited with attracting foreign investment to Pakistan, which saw the strongest economic growth in nearly 30 years during his rule, and he enjoyed the support of the military and Pakistanis who backed his crackdown against militant groups. Some Karachi residents spoke fondly of the former leader.
During his tenure, Pakistan was economically quite strong. There was employment in Pakistan. The poor people were employed, and essential items were cheap and affordable. Overall, Pakistan was quite stable economically and otherwise.
But his decade-long rule was also marred by a heavy-handed approach to dissent, and imposing an almost 6-week-long state of emergency in which he suspended the constitution and censored the media. His political party lost a vote in 2008. Facing impeachment by Parliament, he resigned and fled to London. He returned to Pakistan in 2013 to run for a seat in Parliament, but was immediately disqualified. He was allowed to leave for Dubai in 2016. His family said Musharraf was suffering from a rare organ disease called amyloidosis and was admitted to the hospital last year after he became critically ill. One of Musharraf's former political aides told Geo News that he would either be buried in Karachi, his family's hometown, or in Rawalpindi, home to the army's headquarters.
Okay.
Iran's supreme leader has reportedly offered amnesty and a reduction in prison sentences for the tens of thousands of people detained amid nationwide anti-government protests. The move is part of a yearly pardoning marking the anniversary of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. However, activists have dismissed Khamenei's decree and say it doesn't change anything. They are calling for all protesters to be released unconditionally. Authorities have yet to acknowledge how many people have been arrested in the crackdown following the death of Mahsa Amini in police custody last September.
Okay. So these are the videos I choose for today's updates, news update. So let me conclude by saying this about especially the Orthodox Church crisis. They should figure out to settle that issue, and the new synod determined to move forward. There is no ground for them to come back to the status quo unless something changed. It's very, very tough for those already celebrated, welcomed by followers of the Orthodox and Oromo traditional cultural leaders and Oromo youth. So there is no way for them to come back to the status quo, who are still calling the new synod illegal group. So they got to figure out to settle this issue. Global demonstration, dressing of the black, fasting, praying, I don't think will bring solution. These two groups, maybe dialogue, sitting at the table, might bring some kind of common ground moving forward for the Orthodox Church. Rather than that, blaming each other, trashing each other will not bring change. So that's my saying. And for the tragedy in Turkey and Syria, concerned citizens, media, deeply saddened by the passing of almost 3,600, still increasing. It's a very tragic, very high magnitude. The video I show you is after the buildings collapsed. Still survivors. The rescue operation is still going on. So the number could be higher. It's expected. So just let's offer our prayers and do whatever we can to support the victims. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. I will be back with other news updates. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe, share, comment on my video. Thank you, and be safe. So long, everyone.